Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lesson 36. In this lesson, we're going to study conditional sentences. So, what is a conditional sentence? Let's start by talking about conditional sentences in English. In English, a conditional sentence starts with the word if, then some sort of condition, and then some result happens. So, for example, if it's raining outside, then I'll grab an umbrella. Or, if you didn't see what you were doing, then I will forgive you. Sentences like that. And sometimes you can skip, for example, the word then. You can say if it's raining outside, I'll grab an umbrella. And it's implied that that's the condition and that's the result. And so we're going to study how to actually create these sentences in Arabic. And what we'll find is that there are actually three common words in Arabic for the word if that have slightly different shades of meaning. And just like in English, you don't always need the word for then. You can sometimes skip it as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, what are the ways that you can say if in Arabic? In the Quran, there are three common words. The word law, the word in, and the word idha. So starting with the word law. The word law is used for hypothetical situations that have not happened and will not happen. Okay, so that's when you use the word law, and we'll see some examples of this. The word in is used for things that have happened or might happen, like you could reasonably expect that to happen. And then the word idha is kind of the strongest one. It says the conditions that have happened or will definitely happen. Oftentimes you can actually translate this instead of if, you can say when. So you can say like when this happens because you know it's going to happen. Okay, so let's start with law and study how this word is used in the Quran. So like I mentioned, law is used to describe conditions that have not happened and will not happen. So one way of thinking about it is if the sentence is like, if he had done this, it would have turned out differently. It's saying that if he had done it, we know he didn't, but if he had done it or if you had done this, something else might have happened. The condition for law is usually a past tense verb. It's not always a past tense verb, but usually it is. And if you are going to put the word for then you use the prefix la. Okay? So before you put the result, you have to put the prefix la. Now there is an exception to this, unless the result is a negation beginning with ma. So the word ma, as we have studied before, can be used to negate a sentence. And so if the word ma appears at the beginning of the result, then you can actually drop the la. Okay? So otherwise, usually you will find the prefix la. So I know these are a lot of rules, but let's go ahead and take a look at an example where all of this becomes a lot clearer. لو شاء ربك لجعل الناس أمة واحدة. Okay, so law is if. Sha'a rabbuka, your Lord wished. If your Lord had wished. And now this is again a hypothetical. So we know that whatever has happened is the condition here. The condition, your Lord had wished. He had not wished this. But if he had wished it, لَجَعَلَ النَّاسَ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً. Then he could have made humankind one community. Okay, so what this is saying is, if your Lord had wished, he could have made humanity one community. But we know from this construction that is not what he wished, and as a result, that is not the case with humanity. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. It's just an application of these rules over here, and that is how you use the word law. Now let's take a look at in. So in, as I said, is for conditions that might actually happen. So if he does this, then something. And the condition is again also usually a past tense verb, but not always. And the word for then now is the prefix fa. So for law we saw the prefix was la. For in the prefix is fa. Unless the result is a past tense verb, or a prohibition and some other kinds of verbs as well. So what we're seeing here is that basically if most of the time the word for then is fa, But in some cases, the fa might be dropped. Okay, so you don't always have to see the prefix fa to indicate that the result is about to start. Okay, so again, let's take a look at an example to make this concrete. In a'radu, if they turn away. فَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ عَلَيْهِمْ حَفِيظًا, then we have not sent you to be a guardian over them. Okay, so in this case, this condition may actually happen. The people that the Prophet ﷺ is speaking to, they might actually turn away. And what Allah is telling the Prophet is, you're not a guardian over them. You're not a hafiz over them. Okay. All right. Finally, let's take a look at the word idha. And like I mentioned, the word idha is the strongest guarantee for something has happened. It's oftentimes it's actually more suitable to translate it as when instead of if. Okay, but in some cases, if makes more sense. So I've included this as one of the words for if in the Quran. And it's a very, very common word. Okay, and the condition again is usually a past tense verb. Not always, but usually. And the word for then is again the prefix fa. Okay, unless, given again with the same exceptions that we had previously, usually you're going to see the prefix fa. All right, so let's take a look at an example of this. إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُم. Okay, when God is mentioned, وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُم, their hearts are filled with awe, or tremble with awe. Okay, إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ, when their hearts are mentioned, وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُم. And in this case, you'll notice that fa is not here. It's not fa wajilat. Why? Well, wajila or wajilat is a past tense verb, so we don't need fa here. Okay. Great. So those are the three words, three conditional words. And so let's go through some exercises where we apply those words. We'll start with an ayah that uses the word in. إن كذبوك فقد كذب رسل من قبلك. And if they deny you, so we have if, and this is like the medium form of if, like it might happen. If they deny you, it might happen that some people deny the Prophet. فقد, then certainly messengers before you have also been denied. Okay, this is consoling the Prophet. People, the messengers before you were also denied. لو أطاعونا ما قتلوا. لو أطاعونا ما قتلوا. And if they had obeyed us, okay, so if they had obeyed us, ما قتلوا, they would not have been killed in battle. Okay, so it's saying here, لو أطاعونا, if they had. Okay, now this is a hypothetical, so we know that they did not obey these commands. And it's saying that if they had, they would not have been killed. And because we're using a ma, a negation here, we actually don't see the la before this. Okay, لو أطاعونا ما قتلوا. إن كان مثقال حبة من خردل أتينا بها. إن كان, if there was, مثقال حبة من خردل أتينا بها. And if there was مثقال حبة من خردل, I am actually not 100% sure how to translate this. I'll have to go back and check. But for our purposes, we actually don't have to worry about the translation of this. If there was this, أتينا بها, we would have brought it out. We would have brought it out. Okay? So this is the conditional statement, and this is the result. إذا قرأناه فاتبع قرآنه. When قرأنا, we recite it, then listen or follow its recitation. Okay, when we recite it, then listen or follow, rather, أتبع as follow, its recitation. Alright, so those are examples that you would use in, law, and idha. And because these are such common words in the Quran, I have another set of exercises that you can try on your own. So give them a shot, make sure you can translate the full sentence and understand what part of it is the condition, what part of it is the result, and what the different shades of meaning that you get using the word law, in, and idha is. Alright, Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for listening. And inshallah, take care. Please make dua for myself and for my family. And I'll see you next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.